Part 4 of our series about the new law to protect and preserve international cultural property takes us behind the scenes as experts brief Congress on systems that need to be in place to coordinate a global effort to stop the plundering of cultural treasures. VOA's Carolyn has more.
The Congressional Task Force to Stop Terrorist Financing reviewed expert testimony on ways Congress could empower existing agencies and governments to enact into law systems that will stop terrorists from profiting from the sale of cultural antiquities sold on the black market. Experts say the art trade is an antiquated, unregulated business model in the digital world.
There are two realities about collectors that are inarguable. They love to show people what they've got. That's a problem if it's hot. They hate losing money. That's a problem if you demonetize illegally owned works of art.
Edsel referenced his work for the Monuments Men, where he discovered lost albums of cataloged works of art stolen by the Nazis during World War II. He advocates increased reporting and transparency by the creation of a global international registry to guarantee authenticity of the object with a clean bill of sale, a system for documentation that would make illegal works of art worthless.
100 to 200 monuments officers in the face of a war that claims 65 million lives, with no tools of technology, found and returned 5 million objects. So I'm not really interested in hearing someone tell me all the difficulties or why something can't be done today when we can read a credit card from space.
Experts say the technology exists to create a registry.
I would suggest maybe when you buy a car, there's a VIN number on the car and there's a logbook. You can't sell it without that. Why can't we do the same for objects?
Experts say only tax cheats, smugglers with stolen works, and terrorism networks would be against a system to create transparency in the art market.
Who's against transparency? If we bring that into the arena, we're not only going to be cutting down on trafficking and sources for organized crime for ISIS and other terrorist organizations, but the Internal Revenue Service is going to be getting more of the revenue that it's due, which is going to take a burden off of taxpayers that are having to carry the share of people that are trying to duck the system. It's going to return works of art to the places from which they were stolen. There's no downside to doing this. It's just a matter of the will.
I know they're marketing and selling these antiquities, in many cases on WhatsApp. The social media platform. Is there any way for us to interdict?
This is what we do on a daily basis. We track these sales. We have people on the ground who actually meet with these dealers. I regularly have on my WhatsApp, I receive every day dozens of these photos.
Okay.
So the problem, however, is we receive this information. What happens to it next? That's the big hole, and I quite agree with Mr. Schindel. We have no means of then moving this information on to be acted upon in any meaningful way. It's just information that gets stacked up, and then it goes down the rabbit hole and it disappears and never to be seen again.
Experts want law enforcement to track criminals on social media.
If WhatsApp, eBay, Facebook, as these platforms are being used to market the antiquities, the interdiction can come from law enforcement getting involved on those platforms.
The new law to protect and preserve international cultural property was signed into law by President Obama. It requires the establishment of a coordinating committee to preserve cultural property at risk due to political instability, armed conflict, or national disasters, and imposes import restrictions on archaeological material from Syria. Carolyn Turner, VOA News, Washington.